Hello, this is SC, the rich woman. It is Friday, um, around like 6:45 and PM. So I haven't too long woke up. I was up early this morning, and then and I worked, and then I went to sleep later, like around I think 11, and so now I'm woke. But I had some dreams, and I wanted to get these dreams recorded. One is more terrifying than the other. But I had a dream that I had another car accident. So I had a dream that a car jumped in front of me and stopped really fast. I felt that the car was wanting me to hit them. Insurance fraud. So the car jumped in front of me, slammed on brakes really fast. I always keep a safe distance um, from the car in front of me, and I noticed that people nowadays do not keep a safe distance at all. And because cars be riding my tail all the time, and I'd be like, if I slam on these brakes, or if something jump out in front of me, if I have to slam on the brakes, the car behind me is going to hit me. um I don't know what. I think people are just jumping in their car driving nowadays and not taking driving lessons. Like when I was in high school, I took driving lessons. A driver's ed teacher came to the high school, and when you got in a certain grade, I think it might have been the 11th grade, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the 11th. Well, anyway, when you got in the 11th grade, every student um, had a driver's ed teacher. You had to go through driver's ed. So then my mother taught me too as well. And then when I started driving the school bus, that's when I really learned how to drive. When I started driving the school bus, because even though I had took the driver's ed test when I was how old was I? 16. Um, and I had my driver's license. I still um, I was not driving because my parents were very like overprotective and all this stuff. So I wasn't driving. I really didn't start driving until I started driving the school bus. That's really what I learned. I always say I learned how to drive on a bus. I learned I could parallel park a bus, but could not parallel park my car. Ain't that something? But so yeah, I notice a lot of car people nowadays, they do not keep a safe distance. So I'm sure there's a lot of insurance frauds running rampant with that one, getting in front of somebody and slamming on the brakes. But this car had did got in front of me, slammed on the brakes. But what happened was, yeah, I was driving and it jumped in front of me and slammed on the brakes. That's what it did. So I stopped in time enough not to hit this car. I mean, it was really close. I stopped in time enough not to hit it, but the car behind me hit me and then pushed me into the car in front of me. So, like I say, tailgate, and if I have to stop real fast, they can't stop without hitting. They're not going to be able to stop without hitting me. So that's what happened. And that was basically the end of the dream. I was pushed into the car in front of me, and the person and behind me kept on they kept on the accelerator, so they were still pushing me. So anyway, I'm like, oh Yahweh, I don't want that to happen. Because the first accident I had where my van was totaled, I'm like, I'm like, Yahweh, you didn't show me a dream that was gonna happen. Because Yahweh usually show me things. I mean, he don't show me everything, but he showed me things. But he didn't show me that. So that was when I was hit. I was like in shock. I was totally in shock when that car hit me. Um, I wasn't saying nothing And I was just like, I can't. And my mind was racing. You know, I was like saying to myself, "Is this happening? Is somebody actually hitting me? I can't believe I'm getting hit. Oh my God!" You know, I was just, yeah. But the one of the writers behind, she was screaming and hollering like, "Oh my goodness!" Yeah. So the second dream I had. Now, this dream was terrifying. It was very terrifying. I had a dream I was in a shopping center. There was people with me, and I was in my van. There was people with me. Um, there was also people in their cars. It was like we were out talking, but I was sitting in my van, and other people was outside, and we were talking. We was like a little group of us, right? And so we all talking and everything. And I had heard that a man had got shot and killed very nearby. Somebody said Stater Brothers. Because I asked, where did this happen? And they said Stater Brothers. I said, is it the closest Stater brother or the other Stater brother? Because I'm near, there's a couple. So I said, is it the closest one to me or the one that's a little further? They said it was the closest one to us in the shopping center that we were in. So I said, whoa, you know. So I noticed as we were talking and stuff like that, I noticed that the shopping center the stores had closed. And this is broad daylight. The stores closed. And all the stores closed in the shopping center. And I noticed that the parking lot was thinning, the cars were thinning down. It was filled with people, but the cars were thinning down, more and more cars. I said, did they close? It was a big store, and I'm not going to say the name, but I said, did they close? Is that store closed? And somebody was like, yeah. So I could hear in the background, like from a distance, I could hear, ta, 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 ta. You know, I could hear that, right? And then there would be a pause. But I didn't catch on right away, right? And then I hear ta, 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 ta. And I'm like, I think somebody is shooting. And they're going from different location to location shooting people. And when I realized what was going on, I'm like, where are we going to go? Where are we going to go to get away? What if we run into these people? And so I start to panic. I'm my mind racing. What if when we leave we run into these people? Should we stay here and hide? You know, it was so much stuff going through my mind, and then the dream ended. So this is now. I told you about, you guys, where it's like when you have 2 or 3 dreams, there's a witness. It's like 2 or 3 witnesses. When the Heavenly Father give you dreams or warning or anything, it'll come to you 2 or 3 times. So I told you guys about the club shooting that I had. I had a dream there was a club shooting where these guys came into this club and they had those high-powered guns that go, you know, like that. They were shooting everybody in the club. And so I was trying to think, because I know I had another couple of dreams. Oh, okay. These other dreams. Yeah, so this is my second mass shooting dream. Because the other dream I had was, I told you, where I saw these white people in a Ford Bronco, and they had these guns, rifles, and they were roaming the streets looking for people to stop. And then I had another dream where these men, they were in a van and they tried to stop me, but they didn't point the guns at me, but they held it up like this so I can see it. And so them were two dreams that I had. I believe these dreams are separate from each other. They might have some connection, but I think they separate from each other, where I had to dream about the two men with the rifle, the woman driving, and they were roaming the streets trying to get people to stop, which I think that they were wanting to rob people. And then the dream where the van and the man had the gun and they saw me and they stopped, and one got out and he held the gun up so I can see it. I believe these dreams are, and it was night, both of the dreams it was night. I believe that those dreams are people that want to rob. And I'm sure there are other crimes too, but I believe those dreams are mainly people wanting to rob. See what you have, check your car, maybe even make you go home, and rob you at home. So, but this dream that I had just now with these people going from one location, so they could have been going from shopping center to shopping center, because the Stater brothers out here, both of the Stater brothers here, are in a shopping center, are both in shopping centers. So this is what I'm thinking by hearing this. They was going, and then there was a pause for a while, and then so I'm thinking that they probably was going from location to location shooting people. And that's why the shopping center that we were in, the stores closed. I guess to make the people go home. And so wouldn't know the people with the gun wouldn't come to the shopping center that I was in, hanging out with these people, that they wouldn't come to this shopping center and shooting all the people that were at this shopping center. So that's why I believe the stores closed. They had to be warned some kind of way that this was happening, and so they closed the stores. And the shopping center that I was in, they hadn't came to that particular shopping center yet, and the dream had ended, but people were leaving and going home. So this is the second mass shooting dream that I have had. So it's definitely going to happen. And the thing about it, I was like, how did they get away with this so long? But how did they get away with this for so long without encountering the police? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if the police have high-powered weapons. Do y'all remember years ago in LA that these men had these high-powered weapons, and they were shooting everywhere. They were just shooting. Even when the police drove up, they were shooting the police. I think some police died in that incident. But they was talking about how the police were outgunned. They didn't have the right guns to take these men down. It took them a while to take them down, because they had these high-powered weapons. And so things might have changed since that incident. That was some years ago. But things might have changed since that incident. I don't know if the police now have high-powered weapons that they keep at the police department now. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's going to happen. That is definitely going to happen. And that was scary. That was scary. That was terrifying. But it also was scary too with the club shooting as well. But just think, you're out about, during your day. You may be going to the store, going grocery shop, because that was the Stater brothers. So you're going grocery shopping. You're taking care of business. You're not at a club or anything. You may have your kids with you, maybe older people, and then someone comes into shopping centers and just started shooting people. So, yeah. I just had to tell you guys about the dream. It was so real. I woke up kind of bothered. Um, I've been having these dreams, and I honestly believe that America, the United States, is going to be judged. Um, I believe that the Mexicans that were forced to leave, I believe that Yahweh is trying to protect them. I believe that the Mexicans that came here to work, came here to make a living, to help their family, for economic reasons, I believe a lot of people that came here are for economic reasons. And I know a lot of people is mad, Hispanics and other races. I know they're mad because they had to leave. They're upset. And then to see Trump bring in all these white South Africans saying that they're being genocide against, when a lot of black people are genocide against, but you don't see the United States bringing those people in, Africans and all that stuff. You don't see them bringing Africans in. But the first time something happens, and I don't know what's happening in South Africa. Some people saying that he's lying. It's a lie. Some people saying it's happening. I don't know. But I honestly believe that these white people from South Africa Yahweh have allowed them to come in here because he has a judgment for them too. And that he's bringing them here because the United States, he's going to punish the United States. He's going to judge the United States. So that's why I believe he kicked out the Mexicans to save their life. Not for anything bad, but they don't know that yet. When things go down, then the Mexicans and the Peruvians and the South Americans, they will know. They will thank God that they were kicked out of the United States. When the things start happening here, they would thank God, and then they would know that Yahweh saved them. But I honestly believe that the white South Africans that are coming here, and then the white people that are foreigners that are not being kicked out by the Trump administration, they are not being kicked out. Only the Spanish speaking, Arabs and stuff, only they're being targeted. The white people that are here that shouldn't be here, they're not being targeted at all. So I believe that Yahweh has a judgment for them. And you know how they treated those black South Africans, the real South Africans. You know how they treated them in South Africa. And so they came here to get a judgment. This is what I believe. They came here to get the judgment along with the other Americans here. This country has done a lot of evil, and the American people have participated in that evil all over the world. So Yahweh is going to judge America, and he's going to allow a lot of things to happen. But the things that happen is going to be from the hand, I believe, of our own government, of the hands of our own elites, the people behind Trump, I believe, are the people that's going to be doing all these things to the United States. Because when you look back in history, it's not too much that countries have came here and done to us. It was our own elites. 9/11, Hurricane Katrina. It only got damaged on the black side. It didn't get damaged on the white side. People said they heard bombs going off. And so I believe that dam was blown up on the black side. So, it's a lot of things that our government did and wanted to do. Because I heard when Kennedy was president, they wanted to hurt the American people and say that Cuba did it, so they can go over into Cuba. And I heard that Kennedy wasn't down for it, and then Kennedy was assassinated. So I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. So I think it's going to be our own elites of the United States that do all these things to the American people, because they're going to want to break the American people. I believe they want to bring the American people down off their high horse. All these prices being raised up it's on purpose. I believe it's on purpose. The gas prices, the food prices, the taxes on houses and on cars, and the insurance rates. I think it's all on purpose to bring the American people down to its knees for whatever agenda they have. But it is a judgment from Yahweh. So that's all I have to say. Y'all have a good day. Bye.